Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Into the Splinterlands podcast, the weekly YGG SPL podcast. My name is RoguePatton. I will be your host this evening, and I am joined by some of my favorite people in Pretoria. First off, it's my main man, Virus. What's going on, brother?
Not too much. How's it going?
Dude, it's been a ride, that's for sure. It's been a ride. And then our favorite castle owner? Question mark? Tails?
Definitely a question mark by that.
Because all I've seen is your clickbait titles. You haven't baited me into watching any of them. So all I have is questions, which I swear, if you tell me that I have to go watch them to find out.
Hey man, I need those views.
I need those views. Like, I gotta get you turned up here. But awesome, brother. I am glad that you are here. I am going to 100% need to know how you ended up doing on those. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, from my perspective as a viewer, I've actually skipped everybody that's been opening up their plots. Like, I'm not watching any of those videos because I've never been that kind of guy that, like, I don't like pack opening videos. I don't like do it once when it's brand new and then that's it. But like anytime it's like I'm opening up 200 Rift Watcher packs, I'm like, skip. That's just always been my thing. So nothing personal, brother.
Well, you ought to know, Rogue, that if I put out a video, it's not just another pack opening. It's gonna have a twist. So you better add that to your playlist for tonight after the stream. Virus will tell you. Virus knows.
Yeah,
Well,
it's got a pretty good twist. So
what? All right. Darn it. Somebody in the chat spoil it for me. Just give me the answer. Like I'm cheating off you in a test, just like high school again. We're like, hey,
42.
Hey, what'd you get? If one is he owns a castle and 0 is not, put a number in the chat. It was wild.
Dog. Yeah, it was wild.
All right, so I guess I'm gonna have to do that. Well, if the People's Guild skip another podcast this week, I am gonna be fiending for something tomorrow morning on my way to work. So maybe I will have to zoom in on that content. But Tails, you've been all over the place on land, man. So like, tell us kind of how that's been going. You have 2 tracks now. Is that where we're at?
I do, yeah. Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
So you came into surveying with 1 track, right? If my understanding is correct.
That is correct.
Okay, so what changed for you? Like, from surveying to now, has your play on land changed? What made it change? Like, how are you where you are today now with land?
That stream is how I'm where I'm at today. So I had no intention of owning 2 tracks necessarily.
Okay.
But that stream coupled with a conversation with Orcus, got us to 2 tracks. So
I have to go watch that. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to take time on your stream talking about it because it's going to take into your content. But it's interesting for sure.
But your plan is not to maintain 2 tracks.
It is now.
All right. Sweet. Virus, how about you? Has your play on land changed at all since surveying?
I mean, it's tough to avoid the FOMO. Like, you're watching all these openings, you're seeing, people cheer about having their keeps and their castles and stuff like that. But originally my goal was just to have 10 plots. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't at that point before claiming. I was only at, I think, 5. So I kind of already did my FOMO. I FOMO'd into having 10 total like I wanted to have. And I got some great plots when I opened, so I can't be upset.
Nice. Congratulations. So is there any more that you're like eyeing, thinking, like are you ready for 1.5?
Well, so my region 51, originally we had a big seller that was selling the common plots for cheap. And I think I waited too long. I waited too long and they all pretty much either sold or got removed from the market. So there's still 2 more tracks in my region that have not been surveyed yet.
Ooh.
So I'll be interested to see what I haven't heard of this person before. It's Cornpike. And I looked in Discord. I didn't see any kind of post from them. So I'm kind of curious who this person is and if they're going to survey and what their plans are. But
yeah, so I guess I actually I felt pretty good about, or actually we could probably, I felt really good about our region in 99. If I'm looking at 90, yeah. So like 99 surveyed real quick. We've only got 5 plots unsurveyed.
wow.
And nothing really for sale in this region either. So if I look, yeah, that's what we have for sale. So everyone in 99 is like tight-fisted, like 99's ready to go. And so that's actually really exciting. But then also frustrating because I only had the 2 plots and but I wanted 5. 5 is my number for the title. And I watched this region and I watched, and with how quickly everybody surveyed and nothing came on the market, I knew my other plots were not going to be in 99. So I ended up kind of looking elsewhere whenever something popped up that had a region or like a territory type or like a land type that I didn't already have and was pretty interesting, maybe uniquely different than what my 2 canyons. I scooped it up as long as it had the building in a box. So I'm pretty sure I bought both of mine for 65. Bought it for 65 in I have my 2 plots in 99, and then I have 1 forest just with the building in a box, and I'm pretty sure I got that for 65. And then I also have a plains 65 with a building in a box. So like the boosts were pretty important to me. In that 65 number, the way that I looked at it, it was like is 55 for the land, 10 for the boost. And so that 50 number was really where I was aiming for. And so 55 was pretty fine. I felt like that's kind of where the floor was. It looks like the floor for non-boosted lands is starting to creep below that 60 mark. But the building in a box, the unstable totems, I think they're going to stay kind of where they're at. So yeah, I jumped on 2 of these. And then I currently have a gold foil legendary on the market. I currently have a fungus fiend on the market because gold foil legendaries went crazy. And you can literally trade a single BCX gold foil legendary for a plot of land right now. And I'm going to do that. That sounds like a good trade for me. So as soon as that thing sells, I'll have the funds to kind of just jump back into the market and pick up my 5th plot of land, wherever that ends up being. But I was listening to the Walking Keys Gank pod show that they do early in the week. I think it was Monday night, and Gank started talking about essentially what we talked about on the show for the last couple of weeks, or like my idea that a castle owner or a keep owner will not keep all of their lands to themselves. Like that's not a way in which they're going to make the most money, right? Like king of your own kingdom isn't, I don't think it's the play, right? And Gank was talking about that too. He's like, now that I'm looking at all this and everything, he's open to the idea of letting somebody buy, somebody like known and that isn't going to sell, buy like an occupied or a magical plot on his territory, knowing that he's going to get the percentage off of it. But also providing that opportunity for somebody to like have their best piece of love land be in Gank land or something like that. And that actually really resonated with me. And I ended up DMing him about it. And I was like, look, if that's a route that you end up going, please let me know. And I'd be very interested in having my best plot of land be in Gank land, because I am one of those owners. Like I have 4 basic common plots, or sorry, I do have 1 rare plot, and I got a Rooney, and that Rooney is probably gonna work a common plot or my rare plot. Like it's not gonna really get a lot of value for me or my keep owner, right? And so I think there are other players out there like that could probably utilize something like that. So we'll see. I don't know if my 5th plot's going to be a random common or if it's going to be in Gankland. We'll see. But what's going on, After Sound? Oh, but yeah, so that's kind of the play at the moment. But other than that, for land, I'm actually pretty chill at this point. See, and this is crazy. Now I'm about to ask Tails about like, and I can't ask him any of his strategy. I have to go watch a 50-minute like thing to figure out if he's on the same page as Gank or if he's got a different strategy or even if he's
regardless of if it's a castle or a keep, I think that same thing kind of applies.
Yeah, I agree.
But I will say that could be the best 50 minutes of your life right there, Rogue. But that being said, yeah, and I mean, so the strategy honestly is not clear. Like if I came on your show and said, hey, this is the strategy that's going to be successful for land, and book it. That's no one can say that right now, because let's say you own, just as a hypothetical example, let's say you're Gank and you own a region, or you're Steve and you own 2 tracks. Whatever the case may be, you've probably got more land that you can actually work. And like, I know I talked to, for example, Steve the other day, and he probably won't mind me sharing this. We were talking the other day, about what his strategy is, because he was thinking about selling some land, which is a viable option, right? Sell some land to get some DEC now to be able to stake cards and be able to kind of hit the ground running with land 1.5 is released. And that's certainly a viable option. Is that a better option than holding or hodling the land and working what you can work initially and then bringing on land with your kind of income stream as you go? I think the question is going to really be, to answer that question is, which is the best way, is do you think land now is overvalued or undervalued? Meaning, when land 1.5 or land 2.0 comes online, is a plot of land going to be less than, let's say, $60, or is it going to be more than $60? Depending on where that falls is kind of where your optimal EV play is going to be for landowners that have more land than they can really staff right now.
Yeah.
And, you flip a coin. I mean, it could go both ways.
Yeah, whichever way it goes, right? No, I think you're right. I think 1.5 being kind of a prelude, and yeah, it's hard. I think in the FOMO aspect, right? Like I don't experience FOMO so much of like, I gotta go buy a keep, or like, I gotta go buy like the magical or the occupied right now when we're not doing anything with them. But I think I do, like, they've done a good job of presenting Secret of Praetoria as something that is worth working for and getting nothing currently, like just collecting IOUs and promises. Like that's they've actually done a good job of presenting that to me, where it's almost kind of like if you spent the time, like if you didn't choose to hold on to all your own stuff and like leave stuff unworked and move towards like land 2.0, then you'll actually kind of be ahead going into 2.0, right? That's kind of how they're presenting whatever this secret is like it's going to be something that everybody wants and is actively working for, right? So I don't know, there is a little bit of FOMO there, but I think I made a comment in the GLG Discord this week, because they offered the opening packs for gold foils, and that they were like, yeah, unstake your stuff and like we'll give you some more gold foils. And I was like, cool, what do gold foils get me in game? And they're like, I don't know. I was like, great, cool, more financial decisions I have to make today with incomplete information. Yay, crypto.
Yeah, well, I mean, generally speaking, I can't speak for the gold foil in GLG, because honestly, I haven't unstaked anything for that because, like I said, I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to give up the returns. But when it comes to Secret of Pretoria, it's a little bit different because that's Splinterlands. That's kind of our backyard. That's kind of what we believe in. And I think generally speaking, over the course of at least since I've been involved with Splinterlands, if you bet against Matt or Aggie on kind of things like they've told us about, whether it's DEC or cards or whatever, you've probably lost. Like if you bet against Rooney, you've made bad bets in those cases. So when Matt gets on a town hall and is all excited about the Secret Pretoria and says, hey, this is not something you're going to want to ignore necessarily. I mean, I listen because I don't want to bet against Matt and Aggie. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know what Secret of Pretoria in the research tokens will do, but I will be spending some of my production points on that just because I don't want to miss out.
Yeah. So I kind of wonder if, like those keep owners and those castle owners that have full working, areas, like, is that kind of passive income that they're going to get from the tax for the SPS, for the Secret of Pretoria, for the food, right? Like, is all of that in 1.5 going to easily pay for any losses that they would have on the appreciation of the asset for 2.0? That's the big question mark for me, is like, will they gain enough in 1.5 to make it a correct decision that they parted with some of their stuff here early at a low price? I will agree. I think $60-some is a low price for a plot of land, knowing where we're going.
Well, there's something to be said for liquidity, right? So there's been a lot of people, like, if you would have sold, I guess, I don't know, Chaos Legion packs, I guess when the airdrop points stopped for Chaos Legion packs, and use that capital to do other things in the game, you would have had ample time to rebuy those packs. Plus, you would have got probably some form of ROI on what you divested into. So, I mean, again, it's how much risk are you willing to take? At the end of the day, if you're long on land and you're long on the game, you'll do fine either way. It's just a matter of, do you want to take the risk for the potential return? Now, the thing here that you have to realize is if you're going to sell your land, like if you own a tract or a region, like if I'm ganking, I'm selling stuff in my region, I'm probably never going to get that back, whatever I sell, or at least I'm not going to get it back cheaply.
Well, that's what you're hoping, right? Like you're hoping whoever you sell it to is going to stay there forever.
Well, if you, the castle owners already got, paper hands after 1 week, then you can't expect anyone that you sell it to is going to have diamond hands. So that's just kind of foolish, honestly. But because they'll sell it as soon as an opportunity comes up. As soon as Rebellion comes out or whatever, they'll be like, oh, gone.
You question my hands?
I'm not questioning your hands, Edward, but I'm just saying that, other people in Gangclan may not be as sure-footed as yourself. But,
it could be Tailsland.
It could be. You never know.
I got to watch 50 minutes worth of info to find out.
Last 50 minutes of your week right there. So, but, I guess what I would say is you have to have a plan. Like if you're going to, like if you're a tract or region holder and you're selling land, you better have a plan of what you're going to do with that DEC or income right away, or at least in land 1.5. Otherwise, why sell? Like if you're not bringing in fiat and you need to sell the land to get liquidity for something else, whether it's nodes or Rooney, whatever your play is, your play better be like part of your master plan, because otherwise you're just selling to hold DEC, and I don't think DEC is going much higher than it is right now. So it's
going down, yeah.
Well, I mean, you got maybe a 10% play at most before it gets to peg. So it's not like again, have a plan, know your risk tolerance, and go from there.
Yeah. No, speaking of, DEC is slipping. It was on a steady rise after DECB sold out, but now has started to retrace. What are your guys' thoughts on like why?
It was a big rise. Needed to buy the building in a box and the time vaults. So needed to buy DEC. Now there's going to continue to be buying pressure on DEC, because all these people, like you're mentioning, that have multiple tracks or regions or even single plots are going to need to have roughly 50,000 DEC in their account per plot to stake one max card. So, I mean, the demand for DEC's not going anywhere. In fact, I think I was mentioning it on After Sound Splinterlands TV stream yesterday. I mean, like with 2 tracks, I need 10 million DEC in theory to stake monsters on my land. My account's never held 10 million DEC. I've never had 10 million DEC in any form or fashion. But that's what I'm going to need realistically if I want to make the max use out of my land. And so I'm a buyer of DEC now, and well, for the next 4 months or whenever Land 1.5 comes out. I'm sure there's a lot of other people like me in the same position. So if DEC goes down, well, I'm a buyer.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is what I completely expected. So I expected there to be a point where we get close to peg, and then, you know, some people have to have been looking at DEC as probably the most safe play to make, you know, 40% plus since it was that low. It's probably the safest play in the game to make a big return, you know, if you just give it enough time.
Yeah.
And then once you hit that point of where you're getting close to peg, those people are going to sell off that to get profits.
Okay.
So I think you're going to hit waves of like getting close to peg and then going back down to 9, getting close to peg, going back down to 9 until those people are done taking their profits. And then the demand's just going to kind of take off from there. But you're probably going to see a few waves of this exact thing happening.
Yep. Makes
I'm
sense.
curious how low it's going to go. Like, is 9, like you think 10%'s the... I mean, because nobody jumped on DECB at 20% off. Like, until as soon as the use case was available, and it was an easy 20 right out the gate, just a couple extra clicks when you were going to buy it anyway, right? But like forecasting demand, which is essentially what, like, if you're like Tails, a DEC buyer for 1.5, which is months in advance, I feel like we're in the same situation that we were with DECB, where we were months in advance on DECB to potions, or sorry, not potions, the boosts or whatever, the new potions times 3. And that still didn't drive true demand until it was here, right? So I'm curious if 900 Splintoshis is the new floor, the bottom of that wave, or if it goes below 80 again, or 800.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's at still around 30,000. So
right.
to say the floor is 90 Splintoshis may be a little generous, because if Bitcoin retraces, then, you know, all bets are off. So,
well, yeah, we're seeing this retracement with a pump in Bitcoin. Like, we lost 5% for, like, we topped out at over 950.
We're at 97 as of yesterday morning, and we dropped from 97 down.
That's almost 10%, right? On a Bitcoin pump, right? That was Monday when it reclaimed 30K. So yeah, vouchers 100% did exactly as we predicted. Soon as DECB was done, it just downhill skiing from there. I don't expect that to change at all, because we're back to 0 utility for vouchers.
Well, until they bring back DECB round 2.
You think that's going to happen?
Yep.
Damn it. Nah.
And the whole last minute thing with DECB, though, I mean, I was making returns in LPs on my vouchers until that last second that I needed to take them out.
Yeah.
So that's why I waited so long. I waited till the last minute and then, you know, got my vouchers out and used them for DECB. Bought some extra with DEC I had as well. And
yeah. No, it was the same for me. It was just as I needed the DECB, I just kind of ended up going for it. So After Sound says he'd vote against more DECB. I feel like I would too, because in my opinion, it didn't work the first time. We sold all of the DECB, but we sold 70%, 80% of it when we had something live to use DEC for. So like we didn't get, like we ended up just giving away 20%, or we kept 20% of the DECB in circulation that should have been burned. Like I guess that's the way I mean, love discounts, those are great, but like it didn't work. Nobody bought DECB until it was live, whatever we could spend DECB on.
Yeah, but it did act as a voucher sink, and in lieu of a voucher store and any really voucher utility per se that's usable by the community right now, or desirable, I should say, it did help with that. So
strictly just for the voucher aspect, you'd be. I mean, I could see that argument. I could see that because it really didn't have anything to do with DEC at that point. It was, you're right. It would just be for vouchers.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of sad because they continue to not do anything for vouchers really, if DCB round 2 is what's needed to get some value or utility to vouchers, then I'm okay with it.
I think that's just more band-aids. Like I would just say let's start going with those promos. Let's start going with
sure. Well, we've been asking for that
voucher store
for a year. So, I mean, it's not like it's like some super secret concept that's, necessarily hard to do. It's just not a priority.
Yeah. As long as it's not Floyd Mayweather, I'm all good.
Yeah, right.
Dude, that I don't know. That Floyd. All right. Anyway, let's answer Deco here. He says, "Why don't we just make vouchers as the DECB, like 100 vouchers to put monsters on land?" The only issue that I have with that is specifically that's a staking function of DEC, so we're actually not getting rid of anything there. So if we ended up doing the same thing with vouchers, then we would still have a lot of vouchers in circulation, period. And I just don't like that idea. I'd rather have them just gone, printing and burning. But that's I don't want to stake vouchers on anything.
So what I would expect if they're going to bring back DECB, it'd be at the time they announce the new guild building,
which may be pretty soon, right?
Yeah. So if they were to say this new guild building, and it's kind of funny, I could see them doing a proposal, be like, do you want to bring back DECB? And then if everyone votes no, they're just going to increase the price by 20% versus.
That's crazy. That's not nice. That's a conspiracy.
I think that's what happened with the land potions, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it is. But it's funny that like I'm even one of them too. Like I hated land potions, love the boost, even though it cost like 3 times more. I loved it. I absolutely loved it versus the original concept. But yeah.
But yeah, I think DECB have a nice, because that's what one of the other main uses of it was supposed to be. It was for guild buildings.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guilds out there holding on to a good amount of DECB, waiting for that utility. And if they were to announce that the DECB for guild buildings happens at the same time as this new building is being implemented, it just kind of lines up right.
Yeah, I could see that. I know that was one of my original plays in the beginning with DECB was I was hoping it was going to have instant use in guild buildings, and we were going to definitely pull some stuff together and like really take advantage of that. So if they did implement that for the next time for the discount, I'd definitely take advantage of that, and I'd probably spend more DEC than I was going to without the boost. If it did go for guild buildings, right? So, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, so you brought up Floyd Mayweather. That's an interesting development. Virus, what's your take on the whole situation right now?
I mean, it's good that I think that they didn't, for whatever reason, if they didn't go forward with just doing it.
Yeah.
but I don't know. It makes me question after, the two main promo cards so far have been Waka and Floyd Mayweather. Like, is that really something that is to the market that they're trying to get?
I would say no. And I would say as a battle mage, I can definitely view that as a really short window of like the Splinterlands team thought that real people being drawn into our lore for promos was like an idea for like a very short window of the life of Splinterlands, right? We've never gone back to that. And that was like so like the promos since then have been Lux, Archimus, Viru5, right? Brand new characters created into lore that I personally think that the community has responded way better to made up characters than real people. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at this is that might have just been a product of the time. We were in a coming off of a crazy bull run at that time. They were flush with cash and trying to figure out how to keep it going, right? And expensive influencers that were famous was an idea. They haven't gone back to it since. And so I'm actually really curious if they're going to stay away from that at this point. Like it maybe like a lesson learned. Like they saw Waka, it didn't work out well, and they dodged a bullet with Mayweather. And so now they're just kind of like, like influencers, probably not, right?
I'd still love to see the Spawn card though.
And that's where, so it's like, but now we're getting into like Spawn, we're getting into this movie, we're getting into the movie studio, right? Like we're getting into IPs, not influencers, right? So like IP crossovers, stuff along those lines, which in my mind fits better with our audience. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think any of us care about Waka or about Floyd Mayweather or anything, but like movies, comics, like fantasy oriented, like that's in our wheelhouse, right? So I don't know. Tails, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna pick like a sponsor from an athlete for something I want to promote, Floyd Mayweather is not going to be in the top 100 list for me. I can tell you that. He's probably there along with Aaron Hernandez as someone you want to have sponsoring your
I'm curious how many of our audience is going to be like, who's Aaron Hernandez?
I mean, it's just not a great starting point, I would say. And then I just hope that the legalese on the contract was such that they kind of insured themselves, just like if you were to sign like a team were to sign like a player, to a team, there's like code of conducts or certain things that basically make the sponsorship null and void, right? So I hope they were smart enough to put some clauses in there for exit or defaults. It doesn't look like they have, because the suit seems to say, or seems to, I guess, assume that nothing like that existed. So when they bailed on the contract after they signed it, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. It's not a good look. I mean, they probably defaulted with good cause, but they probably also maybe still on the hook for what they signed him for. They might have to chalk it up as a loss. I don't know. But I do know that $1.4 million going out of Splinterlands to Floyd would be a travesty for us and not good news. So I hope they win it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, even if they lose, like the judge to honor Max, you know what I mean? Like I guess that's where, like, I think there's wiggle room there. Like it's, I don't know, like you're like 20, they're like 200 and 1 million in. But I think that would be like a discretionary. You'd be like, I think you were only defamed by 300,000 or something like that. I don't know. Again, I'm also not a lawyer. But I think there are things that are interesting about this. One, that it's coming in March. And this was all back in what?
2022 April. Like
it was like April. So like we're almost talking a year ago, just about. So and they went that long before they actually filed a suit. I think that's interesting. I think the counter arguments are pretty legitimate. Bulldog did a good video on it, kind of breaking it down. He said he's not a lawyer also, so it's cool that we're all not lawyers, but we all have opinions. But if what Bulldog was saying, kind of it made sense to me. Like there were some of his rug pulls shenanigans that were before the contract, but then you did have like around that same timeline was his own NFTs. Yeah. And then specifically what he brought up at the end was that he ended up in another video game in November, right? Another blockchain video game in November, which also violates the contract, I guess, in some kind of clause that was made. So,
but here's the deal, Rogue. So if I go to a car dealer and I go and look at a Ford Fiesta and you as a car salesman sell it to me for $120,000 and I sign the contract, yeah, I may have made a dumb move and that may not be good value for me. But if I signed on the contract, I'm liable for that loan or whatever I said I'm going to pay. So that's the problem. Is Floyd's case is probably going to be, hey, all this stuff you knew about me, you still paid me, so pay me. And it's not my fault you didn't do due diligence. So that's probably, I'm not a lawyer again, and I don't even play one on TV. But if I did, that's probably the defense I would go with. And
yeah, but if that's a defense, like how is there an extra million tacked onto that? You know what I mean? Like what is that? Like there's no extra damages. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about the extra damages, but he's probably gonna, there's probably a reasonable case that he could get $200,000 paid.
In my opinion, like just looking at this from, I had this vision that Floyd Money Mayweather is swimming in money. The hell's he doing suing a blockchain game for like 1.4 million? Like that's, in my mind, Floyd Money Mayweather, that's chump change. Like what's he doing like for chump change? Like again, maybe I know nothing about this dude, like actually, but like the way he portrays himself, like going to court with a blockchain game for like a little over $1 million. I didn't think that was the Floyd Money Mayweather strategy of success.
I think you probably have to take out, like, it's not really Floyd. It's a company. It's a company that represents Floyd that did this business deal and then did this. So it's not really, it's this company that's trying to make money off the contract that they signed. That's just kind of tied to Floyd Mayweather. Is what I would assume it is.
On behalf of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't want anything to do with this. He's like, I just wanted them to make me a card, and they didn't. Now I'm mad. I'm sad. I'm mad sad. I'm going to fight somebody.
Yeah. You got a couple good ideas in the chat here, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Military Dog was saying Pacquiao, because we have a big, Filipino and American audience.
Yeah.
Pacquiao would have been a good combination person to be interesting to both groups.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
And then Aftersound has an idea for the next promo card.
A 1 million voucher price tag to design the next promo card. Yeah, that would be interesting. What's our total supply right now? Let me go Peak Monsters Rich List just to get an idea of what a million even gets us right now. Where's the Rich List top holders?
It's $120,000 basically for that, but that's not out of the realm of reality because people that bought Chaos Legion packs paid more than that, right?
Yeah, but they actually got a product with their ability to design. They didn't just spend that money just to design, Could you imagine spending that kind of money and getting like a gold foil max copy of the thing? Like, I don't think that would pay for it, But yeah, he's right, talking about like the pools and everything. Yeah, then how would you end up splitting it? That would be interesting. That would be interesting, but I don't know. I think when vouchers are used for something not for whale food, we get a lot more value out of the voucher than we do when we just try to do these big bulk discount things, or like big money discounts. I just don't think it goes as well as, like the Viru5. I think the Viru5 was pretty good. I thought, well, I liked the Viru5. I hate that it got in the way of the first quarter promo. That pisses me off. But other than that, so yeah, nobody has the vouchers necessary to pay for that themselves. That's pretty cool. 1 million vouchers. Nobody's got 1 million vouchers.
I'm in for 10.
I'm in for 10.
We'll see it together.
I want this fraction of the bottom left corner. What if it's like a mosaic card? Yeah, it's like however many people pitch into this. Like, ooh, what if we did we could do just like a mosaic or something. Like everybody puts in a voucher and submits an image, and then all of that is like AI generated into a mosaic of sorts.
Be cool.
I was shooting off the top of my head and kind of making some BS, but that actually sounds really cool now. I really like that. It's just like, yeah, everybody, one voucher, one image, dump them all, and then make a mosaic image with all of those images. Tails, would you pitch in? I don't think you would.
If it's had your name on it, Rogue, I'm gonna pitch in.
All right. All right. Let's get the 100K DEC and get this going. Yeah, speaking of, I think proposals have kind of really died down since the very beginning there. I don't think anybody's really jumping to the gun to propose anything nowadays. But it got me thinking because we were talking about how DECB was going to come back and like how that's somehow easier than the voucher store. But the DECB was a proposal, right? Where the voucher store was an original team idea. Proposal got essentially put in front of the voucher store, right? It was like, yeah, we'll do this and we're just won't get around to the voucher store. So if we do a proposal asking for a voucher store, would it get done faster?
Possibly.
What are the things that they're selling in this voucher store?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, at least the quarterly promo for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be like a no-brainer. If we had a quarterly promo, like what if we had a quarterly promo that didn't have a print rate? And you could just always come there throughout the quarter and exchange a voucher for that card. Like, and you would always have like a percentage of it turning gold. Like that's kind of how I imagine voucher stores going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you look at Bulldog's Twitter, I think he had a similar idea and concept, Rogue, talking about just that, basically having seasonal type rewards similar to that. So
yeah, I could see vouchers for, like right now they have some kind of tier system where they're exchanging DEC for extra battles, right? I could see where they exchange vouchers for chests, something along those lines. Like a voucher equals a chest, voucher equals 2s, or like 2 silver, 5 gold, 10 champion, whatever. You know what I mean? Where you could just start literally trading in for extra chests or something along those lines.
Weren't they talking a little bit about bringing back the quest potion thing?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I guess why can't we use vouchers also as like a form of getting extra battles?
Well, you could with DECB.
You right, but like we don't need DECB.
Yeah.
We just make it for vouchers. Yeah, I don't know. It's like they could offer a bunch of stuff, especially now that we've got Soulbound and all that stuff. Like you could absolutely. Oops, I froze.
I can hear you.
Sweet. But yeah, I think you could do a lot of stuff that we already have in game for vouchers, and that would be a start. And then every quarter you could add that card, right? And I don't know how much dev time that would take, but that would be kind of my quick solution. Well, it's what I've been asking for this whole time anyway.
Yeah, I think it just matters on their priority list about where it goes. They keep on. I mean, this land was like the main priority now for the last probably month. Getting this out the door. So the question is, what comes next in their priority list? They have 3 months or so that they're expecting for land 1.5.
Yeah.
So we'll see how fast that how much of a priority that takes versus getting out some extra stuff in the meantime.
Yeah. I think buying into SPS tournaments with SPS also doesn't make sense. That should probably be vouchers too. At the end of the day, like the buy-in, the pool for the SPS rewards and tournaments is not dependent on the fee, right? The fee for those tournaments does not pay for the tournament, right? That comes out of the white paper for like the distribution of SPS. So why are we being charged SPS to go into SPS tournaments? It could easily be vouchers, and it would be burned instead of like what even goes to the SPS that we buy in for tournaments? Where does that go?
I've never thought about it. Where's
that go? Tails, do you know?
I guess it goes to the company, right, or the DAO, and just used to fund more tournaments would be my guess, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'd be done with that. Nope, vouchers. You want to get into tournaments? Vouchers. Like they're already tickets. It's like a voucher ticket for tournaments. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of ideas for vouchers. It's pretty simple solution, but so I think one of the things that I feel like I've been picking up on, and I think this might be kind of like the final subject for the night, is I think there's a little bit of automation. Like I know I've pivoted on being a very manual player to being an automated player in ranked and in all that, and the more people that I talk to, I think the more are on the same page. Less people are actually playing Splinterlands and have transitioned into the managing of Splinterlands assets as playing the game. Do you guys feel this as well? And do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's long term. I think it's a bad thing. And I mentioned this. I forget on which stream it was, but basically,
is it in the 53 video? I'm supposed to.
No. This was somewhere else. I had this conversation, but it basically comes down.
All week listening to you. That's what you're saying. I just need to watch all of your content all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. That's pretty much assumed, right?
I assumed that if you come onto this show, that I get the cliff notes from the entire week. That's
hard to do. Cliff notes on that. It's a lot going on there. But no, I guess to answer this particular question, Rogue, is for all of us, when we joined Splinterlands, there was no Archmage, there was no Xbot. Mm-hmm. We had to manually pilot our cards, our tournaments, our ranked battles, our brawls. So we know the cards, we know how to play the game. For a new player that joins today or tomorrow, one of the first things they're going to come across after playing the game for a bit is, oh, there's this Archmage token. Oh, there's this Xbot token. Why don't I get one of those? And then their time spent playing the game itself and walk in the snow for 5 miles, every day to school. So I think what happens is you have a little bit of dilution in the knowledge of the game and the cards and the meta.
Yeah.
Like for all of us, even if we're not manually playing ranked battles, let's say on a daily consistent basis, right? If that's the case, I'm pretty sure, all of us here on this stream and most of the audience could hop in a tournament and do just fine, because we know the concepts, we know the cards, and we're not that far detached from what's going on. But I fear for this newer generation that has a lot of automation at their disposal that they're really not going to get a fine appreciation for the game, the meta, the cards, and all of that. So we'll see. They're not going to get it with land for sure, right? Because it's a whole different game mode and game thing that doesn't use the cards as cards, right? They're just used as basically ROI generators. So it's going to be different. Where does that lead us for the game's future? Is it better, for worse? I don't know. Depends what kind of other game modes and other things are added. But we're definitely in a different era for sure. If you're a newer player to the game now, I think the way you approach the game is going to be different than maybe some other older players did.
Yeah, and so one of my other goals in the game, whatever, is to try to, once I have access to all of the modern cards, so because I don't have access to many of the untamed cards or dice cards, but once Rebellion comes around, I'll have I'll have less of imbalance of the cards that are available. So I want to try to be one of the top players of the game in modern at that point. Yeah. And when that comes around, I'm going to have to practice a lot. I'm going to have to not, there won't be any kind of like botting games. I'll have to play through my games daily, and or I'll have to watch strategies. I'll have to go back through and analyze that kind of stuff. So for me, there's going to become a point where, you definitely turn off the bot for ranked and you play it out and you practice and analyze. And so I'll be going back to that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Virus. I think I've gotten to that point too. And I'm not mad because it's actually timed really well with my life. With my twins coming here in the next couple months. Gonna have 4 kids under 5, running around, and it's gonna be a crazy house, and trying to get into the swing of that, doing the remodel right now. We're like 2 months away from that, so like getting everything squared away for the remodel. Like my life right now is actually really hectic, so I'm very grateful that I do have the ability to automate, but I do feel it in my ability to play the game. I feel like I've gotten pretty numb to losses at this point, and especially tournaments. I've actually stopped playing tournaments mainly because I don't care. Like, I think that's kind of the craziest part about all of this is like I don't really mind, because maybe I'm already in the future as well. I'm already at the Rebellion comes out, and I can be fully equipped in modern, and I can start to play the game seriously again, because right now I'm also put into a position where I was always really proud to be like a silver player. I was like, yeah, silver players, this is great. But with the soulbound reward cards, I feel a lot of FOMO to not stay in silver. Like, I have to let my Lux Vega go and play in a league well above my deck. And so by letting my account do that, it ties my hands, because I'm for sure not going to log in and try to take my silver deck through diamond. Like, I don't care to play the game that way. I'm not, if I get a win up there, I'm cheating wins because I'm probably playing other undervalued people or something along those lines. Like, I'm not it's not like a real competition for me up there. It's farming, right? And so because I value the soulbound cards so much and I do not want to miss out on this opportunity, I've actually switched from player to farmer. And that is how I'm playing Splinterlands now. And I don't feel like I'll be able to come off of that mindset until Rebellion comes. Because that'll be the next thing that intrigues me to go back to being a player, is the ability to play with all the assets and leaderboard potentially and stuff along those lines. But then I'm also like, part of me thinks that when Rebellion comes, I have to be gold ready at that point. Because if I'm not, I might be in the same boat where I'm just like, sure, I can have a max level modern silver deck, but like, what's going to stop? Like, why would I stop farming at that point? What's going to change? You know, like, I'm still going to need all of those cards, you know, and I'm still going to, like, Diamond and Champion are so much more for the Soulbound reward cards than any other league, that it's, you know, it's interesting, because I'm most excited about Splinterlands when I wake up in the morning, because I've got 3 accounts that I can see what rewards I got. And then as soon as I check my rewards, I'm pretty much checked out of Splinterlands for the most part for the rest of the day, right? I'm just waiting for my next rewards. And that was it. That was an interesting side effect to Soulbound reward cards, was, kind of abandoning my deck and just turning into a farmer. I relate to all of Tails's Twitter emojis.
Oh man, I feel bad now, Rogue. I feel like I've corrupted you and took away your tournament edge and made you a farmer with a straw hat.
I mean, it's all right. Like, I'm at a Splinterlands has done this itself too. Like, it doesn't promote the player. You know what I mean? Like, Splinterfest was the only opportunity since I've been playing the game where I had a stage to play on. You know, outside of that, it's been yield this whole time, right? Like, I wanted it to be something more, and Splinterfest had the option, but like, as of right now, no. Like, they're like, Weirdbeard's been talking all the time how he wants to make the stars out of, you know, the people and the stories and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, like, it ain't coming. Like, it ain't coming until some iteration down the future. It's not going to be 2023. Lord knows what 2024 is going to be. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, I've had to switch gears. Like, in order to maintain a collection that I want, like, I want to be a champion level player eventually. And maybe it'll switch. Maybe it'll switch when I can finally be a champion level player, and I have that level of assets, and I have that level of revenue circulating in the game, that I can continue to get maxed out cards, and I'm always playing with a full deck. Maybe I'll go back, you know, but I can't sacrifice the rewards right now to just be the best silver player. You know what I mean?
And here's an interesting conversation. I'll just share this, and I don't think Atrasound will mind. I was chatting with Atrasound on Discord the other day, and asking some questions because I was curious, because we see a lot of games reviewed in the Web3 and play and earn gaming space. There's a lot of up and coming games. I'm sure Luke would know a lot of these games, but in many cases, it seems without fail that Splinterlands never makes these lists of like top 5 or top 10 play and earn games, which is mind-boggling to me, because the amount of time Splinterlands has been around, it's established the number of quote players it has or daily accounts it has, but yet no one from a content creator outside of Splinterlands creators ever mentions the game. And I follow a bunch of play and earn kind of crypto Web3, channels outside of Splinterlands, just to stay up to date on everything that's kind of happening around us. And without fail, it's like they never even acknowledge that Splinterlands even exists. Like, we're like kind of like the alien worlds of play and earn. And I guess my comment in our conversation the other day was, is it because Splinterlands as a game is not seen as a game? Is it just seen as more DeFi and ROI based, like almost like mining and not gaming? And is that why we can't get any respect and we're kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield of Web3? I don't know the answer to that question, but when I hear, you say, some of these things, and they're definitely real, right? Because they're influencing how you're playing the game and, how you're approaching your time in the game. So it just makes me wonder, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and this is I want to make it perfectly clear. Like, I do still love Splinterlands. It's kind of unlocked an aspect to me that I didn't know that I was going to appreciate or like about it. But there is this asset management side of everything that is pretty cool. But it is definitely something that I have to recognize, is that when I started in this space, I was player focused. I was going to be the best and all this stuff. And right now, I have to put that on the back burner. Not to say that it's going to stay on the back burner. I'm positive that if I reach my goal, my asset goal of owning the cards and being at a high enough level where I'm satisfied with my rewards, then I can go back to being that player focus, right? But right now, I'm very envious of gold players and above. Very envious. There's silver just doesn't cut it for me anymore. Doesn't cut it. Weird note to end on.
I mean, the one thing I'll say with the competitive part too is that, one of the most exciting parts that I think you and I saw with D-Tough Stuff playing was that quick switch in that match when he was going to play one set of cards, and in the last, 20 seconds, he's completely switched his lineup and won the match.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the coolest things, but that comes with knowledge of the cards. He had a full lineup in his head that he quickly put in, and so you have to be playing to know that kind of stuff. You have to be able to do that in a tournament or in a brawl or wherever else. And when these quick meta shifts happen, like with what happened with the Soulbound rewards, you have to be able to play a lot of matches to know how to play those cards.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have reached a very interesting point in bronze, I think. Bronze and silver. Like, now that the gladiator cards are playable in ranked, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, I am very much seeing, like, Marty Quora is pretty OP. Like, it's giving me Lamacron type vibes from when I started. Like, when you see Quora surrounded by two Martys, you're just like, oh crap, I'm gonna be in trouble here. And there's a lot of people that can make that play, so it's I don't know, moving gladiators into ranked play, I think has been really interesting into tournaments, like outside of gladiator tournaments. I know somebody was pushing for that. Somebody was. Weirdbeard kept saying it. I was never part of the conversations that were like, I knew zero people that were like, I wish I could play my gladiator cards in the rest of the game. All that I ever heard was like, man, I wish I could practice with my gladiator cards. And then they just opened the floodgates and they were like, gladiators to the world. And I was like, oh crap. All right, here we go. And I don't know if that was good. It doesn't feel good right now. Because those are pretty good cards. Like the other day, I got beat by in a silver tournament, an exact mirror in a Noxious Fumes match, but they had a level 3 Quora and I had a level 1, so their Quora had immunity, or level 3 silver had immunity, and I was just like, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's going to be tough once it creeps up to the gold and diamond level. Is those guys that have been from the start and in guilds that were in the highest tiers of brawls, have had all the merits, that have those high level gladiator cards. There's going to be as much as I want to even the playing field with Rebellion, there's still going to be some of those guys that have the gladiator cards. It's still going to take me another good amount of time to actually get up there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Interesting time. Tails, what do you think about the gladiators?
All you have to do is watch my channel and watch my videos on what I think about Soulbound reward cards. Look, I think there were mistakes made with Soulbound reward cards, and as you mentioned, with gladiators, we're past it. But the out of the is, but yeah, those things were the right decisions. But it's not you or I making these decisions, so we just gotta, put our big boy pants on and play the game. So, but yeah, I think mistakes might have been made there.
Yeah. All right, my friends. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Apologize if I put a little negative spin on this week, but I think it's important to assess situations as they come about, and not to stay so rigid in an ideology or in a plan, and to be fluid with the environment. And I don't think I've made the wrong decision at this point, putting off playing for farming. I think it's the right call given the circumstances. Also, it aligns well with my life specifically. So I really can't complain, but I do need to make note of it. I need to understand where we're at, why we're here, and what to look for in the future if I need to switch gears again. So communicating this kind of stuff with you guys, does a lot for me, and hopefully it does well for you guys too. You guys can evaluate your own journey and figure out where you're at here in Pretoria. But as for me, that's gonna be it. Virus, you got any final thoughts?
No, I think kind of with what you're talking about and what I was saying before is, I have set goals that I want to achieve, and those are fluid. They could change at any time. That I can add a new goal, or I could change what that goal is, and I'm still looking forward to that goal and what gets me there. And so if it's just, if I need some DeFi time for the bots to play my main to get me there, and that's it. But if my goal is to be, one of the better players in tournaments and brawls, it's going to be practicing. So it's got to be, like you said, fluid with the situation, and do what you got to do to get where you want to go.
Amen, brother. Tails?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that the game is evolving. There's definitely lots of, I think, good changes that have been made for the game, and I think we'll have to see how it goes. Like the team only has so much development horsepower, so you're gonna have to prioritize certain things at certain times. And what we might see, land focused on now, and maybe it's guilds after that, and then maybe it's back to staked SPS and ranked battles. We'll have to see where the focuses are at any given, let's say, sprint or quarter. But at the end of the day, as Virus alluded to, and as you mentioned as well, just have your goals, have your plans, and then just make sure that they're flexible and have the ability to change as the game changes, and you'll do just fine.
Yeah. All right, my friends, thank you very much for stopping by tonight. Catch us this weekend for the weekend challenge. And Demore goes in the morning for the European Asian audience, and then I will be around this time. I swear I've missed the last 2 or 3 at this point, but I swear this weekend I'll be there, and we are going to stream the Saturday night weekend challenge. So come by, hang out, win some stuff, win the tournament, beat me. We'll see. We'll see you guys next time. GG.
See you guys.